I'm Jonathan Frakes, Commander Riker from Star Trek The Next Generation, here to introduce 5'2", incredibly adorable, the Southern Mother of Dragons, Mayim Zadi.
On the next episode of Star Trek The Next Generation,
they're all dead.
A contaminated ship is spreading a strange disease.
It is definitely like alcohol intoxication.
And the new Enterprise is on a galactic collision course.
What we're seeing, sir, is a huge chunk of the star's surface blown away, heading for us.
Now, the crew faces disaster.
We're not going to make it.
On Star Trek The Next Generation.
Hey, everyone. It's me, Amanda, and I'm here with Chris.
Greetings and salutations to you from me and all my people.
Okay, so we just watched the 3rd and 4th episode of Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 1.
We did.
And episode 3 is called The Naked Now. And I highly recommend this episode. It's very entertaining.
Lots of nudity.
I know you liked it. Kinda. Yeah. I mean, the frozen people are naked. So there's that. So the Enterprise is going to meet up with this other ship.
The naked ship.
Sikorsky. Yes, the naked ship. We can just call it that. It's the Sikorsky.
It's the take your clothes off ski.
It is the take your clothes off ski. Very
lower
good.
The temperature so we can ski.
Oh, jeez.
Skeet.
All ski. Yeah, exactly. So there was some fan outcry that The Next Generation was just basically lifting a plot from the original series with this episode. Because the original series has the episode The Naked Time. Yes. And I don't think they realized it, though, but it wasn't actually, they weren't like stealing the plot, because this episode was actually written in 1967. Gene Roddenberry wrote this for the original series to be a sequel to The Naked Time. They never made it, so it's like paying homage to the original series rather than just taking a story from it.
It's a callback. Who doesn't love a callback?
They had to go through a lot because, I mean,
because nerds are deranged. I'm glad that's not the case anymore.
Not quite. It's worse. It's a lot worse. But it's a great episode. I understand why there was drama. People are funny about things. I mean, hell, I am. It's fine. But I did find this rather interesting. They didn't know what they were going to do with Troy. And I don't know why she seems to be a point of contention. And if anybody wants to know, I have the book, The Star Trek The Next Generation Companion. That's why I know this. Because I'm a nerd and I know things. But they actually filmed this like 10 days after they filmed Farpoint. And they decided to change Deanna Troy's character because she was deemed too loose and cheerleader-like in her skirt that she had on. So they gave her a non-regulation uniform and a severe bun hairstyle. And she actually stays in a non-regulation uniform for a long time after this. And they softened her telepathic abilities to just empathy. They blamed it on her like half-human genes, but it was to avoid the emotional soliloquies even the actress cringed over in Farpoint. The great joy and gratitude. Even Marina Sirtis was like, really? Y'all? Does it have to be like this? So she's an empath. She just senses emotion. She can't read everybody's thoughts. And they actually found her the hardest character to write for. And Marina Sirtis said that she was almost dropped in November after she went unused in 4 different episodes. So that would not be fun. She was constantly worried that her character was just going to be written out. But another thing that's interesting about this episode is that in the original script, Geordi is the one that actually makes a move on Tasha. and she brushes him off. Data turns her down, and I think Troy has like a much more difficult time because, like in the earliest script, she would have been like reading everyone's mind, and that just would have been a lot. And Riker actually fears a lonely captain's career. So they cut all that. And then Picard worries over the families he had aboard his ship. So they scrapped all that, and I actually am glad, because I think what they came up with is better than that and more interesting. The Take Your Clothes Off ski ship is monitoring a collapsing star. That's actually important. As one does. So they show up, and they've been getting weird transmissions from the other ship. And you're like, what? What's weird? So they play one, or it's live. Yeah, no, it's because they hear them. So I guess it's not one of the messages. I guess like they contacted them, and it's a woman, and she's like, "I hope you have some pretty boys on board, because I'm willing and I'm waiting." And you're like, okay. And she says, in fact, we're gonna have a real blowout here.
And you feel bad for her because, like, they had, like, what was it, like 800 people on that ship or something? Like 80 people, something?
80.
Yeah, they had 80 people on that ship, and it's like, and not one of them's good looking.
I guess
like,
not.
We are in desperate need of pretty boys over here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you notice, like, the camera cuts over to Riker, and it's like, really?
She's like, we would extend joy and great gratitude. They're packing also.
Yeah, she would extend great joy and gratitude to Data, I think, actually, because
he is.
I mean, like
correct.
He's fully functional. So, what she's talking about when she says we're gonna have a real blowout over here, there's like people in the background like, yeah, do it, and then you hear this loud noise. So it's like, what the hell happened? And you find out it appears that someone blew the escape hatch.
Which is not where I thought she was going with that, because she sounded really horny. She's talking about having a blowout.
Yeah, I think you're meant to think that. I'm pretty sure. I don't think that's an accident at all. So Riker, Tasha, Geordi, and Data beam aboard the other ship, and it's trashed. As soon as they get there, it's just like clothes and like empty glasses like all around, and it looks really weird because you never see like a ship with clutter, and that's what you first see. And Data makes a statement like, it appears to be what you would call a wild party. So that's kind of funny. And Tasha finds 10 frozen people. They're dead. Totally frozen. And Geordi, you actually see him find the naked frozen bodies. And you can't help but think, like, what are these extras? Like, what did they sign up for? Because they're nude and, like, the genitalia is covered barely by, like, some piece of cloth. And then they're covered in what's supposed to look like frost. Can you imagine?
Yeah, I'm noticing, like, for the frost, they just, like, looks like they just spray them down with, like, white spray paint and sprinkle coconut on them.
Yeah. It looks like that fake snow that you can buy and spray on stuff. It looks like they just covered them in that.
Because they used that same special effect in a previous episode where what's-her-face was frozen. Rachel Creed.
Yeah, look at you. Good job. Very nice. So, Geordi's walking around, and they're naked, frozen, and then you hear this noise, and it's a shower that's trying to close, and it can't, and he opens it up, and, like, this dead, frozen woman falls out, and she's, like, fully clothed, but was trying to get in the shower. And he touches her, and you hear a noise, which we later is supposed to represent he got infected. There's like a little tingly noise. It's supposed to represent that. And then, yeah, the confirmation. Riker contacts Picard, and he's like, they're all dead. And Picard's like, what? And he says, as I said, all dead. I always thought that was funny because it rhymed. Then it goes to commercial, like, very dramatic.
As I said, they're all dead. They weren't right in the head. This one was found in the
No,
shed.
they were not.
The poisoning, we think, might have been lead.
And a lot were also in the bed. And I'm not going to say the rest of that. So, next, we have Dr. Crusher examining Data. She says he's fine. And then she starts to examine Geordi. And her tricorder, all the readings are normal. But she's like, you're perspiring. And he gets an attitude. He's like, well, it's hot in here. You're like, oh, wait a minute. That's not a butterfly in the sky.
No, it's not.
It's weird seeing Geordi pissed off. So he's like sweating profusely, and he has like a serious attitude with her and Picard. So obviously she says she needs to watch him and do some further tests or whatever. After that, we go back to the bridge where Riker's trying to figure out what the hell's going on, and he tells Data he needs to do some research because he remembers hearing a story about somebody taking a shower in their clothing, but that's all he can remember. So Data says that's going to take a while, and Riker's like, we'll just look that up. So this is 1987, and there's no Google, basically. So Data's going to take a long time going through medical records, trying to find somebody taking a shower in their own clothing. And Geordi leaves sickbay, and he takes his communicator badge off so they can't track him. He just wanders out.
Which is odd.
Which it is. Number one, you would think that they would probably like have something barring that, but I don't know why he takes his communicator pin off unless he's just like, you know what, I feel drunk and happy and confused, and I don't want anybody to bother me.
Why'd you take your pin off? Because it's hot in here.
Exactly. The stranger thing, though, is that drunk Geordi, of all the places he goes to see Wesley.
Well, Wesley's his little buddy. And he's like, I'm drunk. This is probably the only time I can tolerate the kids. So,
you know what? I choose to believe that because he irritates me. Geordi goes in, and Wesley has built a tiny tractor beam. Basically, it's a little thing he's made that has a small tractor beam, and he's moving a chair with it. Because, like, we're constantly reminded that Wesley's a genius. Over and over again. The whole point of this interaction is to see that Wesley has built a small tractor beam, and Geordi touches him on the shoulder, and you hear the noise. So, guess what? Wesley's infected. Then, after that, he goes, I don't know what room he's in. It's just, he's looking out at the stars, and Tasha finds him. And he's sad as hell. He's very down. And he wants her to talk to him because she's like, you need to go to sickbay. And he's like, don't let me give in to the things that are in my head. Which I don't know exactly what that was.
Well, he does say, like, he starts lamenting about the fact that he can't actually see like normal people see. So maybe those thoughts are constantly in the back of his head, and when he gets intoxicated, they come to the full front. And it's like,
oh, that's true. Yeah. But, like, what do you think, like, he meant by, like, do you think he was suicidal?
I didn't get that impression. Like, what do you...
I just wonder because...
What do you say to make you think that?
Because he's like, because he says, like, don't let me give in to the thoughts in my head. Like, and I'm like, give in to what? Because after that, like, it's actually, this scene is really big for Geordi, because what he says in this scene is repeated many, many years later. This is when Geordi talks about not being able to see and explains to Tasha that he's never seen a sunrise or a sunset. And Tasha's like, well, you see better than me. And he's like, I don't want to see better. I want to see like you see. And later on, like many years down the road, Geordi gets to see a sunrise and a sunset. So the fact that something from the third episode made it all the way to the movies, I've always thought was really cool. Just a little side note for you.
Spoiler alert.
But, you know, it's been out for a long time. This is 87. So.
And this is my first watch through.
Come on. Are you serious?
Now I know he sees a sunrise.
If I can't... God damn it.
You've ruined the...
Dude,
I
if you
can't watch
look
the whole show now, because now I know someday he sees a sunrise and then set. And then,
you know
his
what?
journey is complete. We've come full circle.
You know what?
The circle of life.
If you see a picture of
and it
him
moves
on
us all.
anywhere, like, you can see that he doesn't have his damn visor on. It's not a spoiler.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I won't be able to sing that song for the next episode for obvious reasons.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to be notified of new content and podcast episodes.
Okay. Geordi infects Tasha.
Yes.
Uh-huh. So, Riker remembers that it was a story about one of the ships called Enterprise. Yes. He was reading about things that happened in previous Enterprises, which would be the first one, the A, the B, and the C.
Which I've never seen, but when they did a callback to the original Star Trek, even I was like, hey, that's cool. Callbacks.
Yeah, and other people were mad, but I liked it. I thought it was neat.
I liked it too.
Because Data pulls it up. Oh, good. I'm glad. Because Data pulls up like an article, and they're reading it, and like he even mentions Captain Kirk.
I love little callbacks.
I thought that
like
was cool.
Like when you get like a spin-off or a sequel or something like that, and they make references to the previous material.
I think Star Trek did a really good job with that, because in the first episode you have McCoy, like, he basically came on board. It's just to like say, hey, like, that's the GOAT. Like, we know it's the GOAT. And he has a great scene with Data. And then in the third episode, Captain Kirk is mentioned.
They do a lot of that in Doctor Who. I've never seen classic, the original Doctor Who show. I've only seen like the reboot series from like what was it, 2007 or whatever, when they started like redoing it. But they do enough callbacks to the previous to where you're not completely lost, even if you haven't seen it. And they do it in such a way that you feel nostalgic for something you've never even seen before. So like, I love when shows do callbacks like that.
I like it. It just reaffirms that you're in the same world. I think it's cool. I like it a lot. And I think it works well in this episode because it gives you some useful information. So Riker calls Picard over. He's like, hey, this happened to, the first Enterprise. And Picard's reading it, and he's like, it acted on the brain like alcohol. So you find out. And me and Chris looked it up. It's a little confusing, but this thing, it's water molecules, but it's passed on through like sweat or any kind of like liquid. So it acts like a virus. Does it fully make sense to me?
It's
no.
very confusing.
It is. So I'm just going to accept it. Because I don't know about that.
To simplify things, let's just consider it a virus.
Yes. It's a polywater something, but we're just going to call it virus.
Molecule.
Yes.
Apparently, it's also a computer virus.
Yeah, it's that too. So we know that the crew, when they're infected, they're going to act like they're drunk plus something. Plus. So I would assume it's like, the impairment and no inhibitions without the hangover.
Which sounds really fun.
I mean, kind of does at this point. So Troy goes into her quarters and her clothes are all laying around. You find out Tasha's in there. And Tasha is very not girly at all. So she's like kind of draping Troy's clothes over her and like seeing what they would look like on her. And it's like very colorful, very flowy fabrics. And she even says, "You always wear such beautiful clothes off duty." And she wants to like wear some of her clothes, and Troy knows that she's got it. And she's like, "No, I don't think this is for you." So Tasha's like, "Well, fine, the ship's stores will have it." And she leaves, but she gives it to Troy. Then she leaves Troy's quarters and saunters down the hall, and there's people just making out and fraternizing. And just this random guy comes around the corner, and she just grabs him, and they start to make out. So there's that. He seemed fine with it.
He seemed very fine with it.
Yeah, he did. One little thing is we have a scene where we find out Wesley has this whatever. It's like some little thing that can mimic Picard's voice. Obviously, why wouldn't he have that? And he's like showing it off. So he basically has a Captain Picard voice synthesizer, and he also has recorded Picard saying certain things, which is, it's a bit weird, but we'll just go with it. And so Wesley uses that to have the chief engineer and the assistant leave engineering. And he's just like, "Hey, you should go. I'll call you if I need anything. It'll be fine." And they're like, "Oh, okay. You watch everything in engineering, Wesley. It'll be fine."
It's not like you're a civilian or anything.
I don't.
A child at that.
Yeah, no, it's totally fine. It makes sense. It's Wesley Crusher. Yes. He can do anything.
His name is Crusher. I'm sure he'll crush watching whatever.
Just, I don't get it. I don't understand why they would leave him in control. You said it's probably because they're already infected, and I choose to believe that. Because why else would they?
So the story could happen.
Exactly. So Wesley puts up a force field so that nobody can come in engineering, and he commandeers the ship. So it's getting pretty nuts. We see the bridge. Picard's freaking out because he's like, "What the hell? I got this going around my ship. Wesley Crusher's taking over. I can't do anything." And then Data's like, "There's strange reports from all decks." And Picard's like, What strange reports?" And that's when Data is like, he says he heard an interesting limerick on the turbo lift, I think. And that's when we get there once was a lady from Venus whose body was shaped like a captain to security. He cuts him off.
I was fully expecting it to be, there once was a man from Nantucket.
Well, they gave you the future version of that. There once was a lady from Venus whose body was shaped like a...
And I don't know how that...
It's just...
Shaped like what? Like a pretzel? Like a star?
Do you really not know?
Like, I'm trying to think of all the weird things it could be shaped like that they wouldn't want to show. It's like, she's from...
It's penis.
No, that's too obvious. Let's see. She's from Venus.
Are you trying to make me say... Are you fucking with me? Are you trying to make me say penis?
No. Maybe it was vagina.
Oh my God, you are.
Maybe it was vagina. Maybe it was vagina. Because why would she be shaped like a penis? That doesn't make sense. Like, people aren't shaped like penises.
It rhymes with Venus. That's the only reason.
Like, does that mean there's life on Venus and they're all like dick shaped?
Possibly, yes. There are people on Venus. There are people on all the planets.
Okay, so that's canon now? That people are penis shaped from Venus?
Sure. Well, it says there was a lady from Venus. So maybe she's an anomaly.
Or maybe all their females are shaped like penises and all their males are shaped like vaginas.
I don't know. Okay. But if I ever meet Brent Spiner,
so that
I'll
means
ask.
The females are xenomorphs and the males are predators.
Perfect.
Tie-in.
Absolutely perfect. That's it. Good job. You really did. I'm so glad we're doing this. Thank you. So, yes, thank you. So, Picard, oddly enough, sends the one person that you think would be alright, Data, to take Tasha to sickbay. You'd think you'd want to keep him around, but whatever. We obviously need this. So, he goes in and Tasha's wearing...
little nothing?
Yeah. I mean, it's like really low cut pants, like... It's like below the belly button, and then like the top is like right under her boob. So there's like, you can see her whole torso and some under boob. And she just gets like really close to him, and I mean, you can tell she's like in heat. And she starts talking about like, do you know? Yeah. I mean, it's kind of a mood killer, actually, what she says. Yes. But I mean, it's Data. It doesn't matter.
It's going to be right up his alley.
Do you know how old I was when I was abandoned? I was 5. Do you want to have sex? It's a bit odd.
But Data doesn't understand foreplay, so he's like, I'm guessing maybe this is part of the mating ritual.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what the look on his face is, because she's like, so, can you? And everybody knows Data is fully functional. I am programmed in a variety of techniques. I mean... Wait, hold on. I bet I can get the exact one. Give me a sec. I am programmed in multiple techniques, a wide variety of pleasuring. That's how many times I've heard that. I mean, it's a classic line. So... she's like, oh, you jewel. And she drags him to the bed. So, I mean, she's got exactly what she wants. He's not going to get tired.
He's got that jackhammer.
I would assume he's warm. Because it'd be weird if he wasn't.
I imagine he practically vibrates, so. I mean, if you had to pick someone on the ship, I mean, that would be pretty first choice for a lot of people.
Not me.
You don't have to worry about getting pregnant.
Not me.
He can vibrate. He has no stamina. Like, it's unlimited.
Nah. That ain't gonna be my first choice. But I get it. I understand. Which is fine. But, nah. Probably not. But, I mean, like, have your fun.
It's like having...
just don't be mean to him later.
It's like having a vibrator you could talk to afterwards.
Yes, it
won't
is.
Fully understand you, but it can talk back.
Yes, he can. My thing is, Data, this is early Data. So, he hasn't learned to, like, do a lot of, like, mimicking. So, like, is he just staring, like, unblinking at you the entire time?
Data? I hardly know her.
That's awkward. Oh, come on. Can you imagine? Oh. Anyway. So they're getting it on. So Troy's got it. And you know who she's going to seek out, obviously. Her Imzadi. She finds Riker. He's in engineering. And he's like, hey. And she's just like, all these minds. I can sense what they want. And he's like, oh yeah, she's jacked up. So he picks her up and carries her, which is interesting. And he's just carrying her like a kid, and she's like, wouldn't you rather be alone with me in your mind? And he takes her to sickbay,
as one does.
I mean, come on, not even tempted. Give him credit. I told you the whole reason she said that is because she's reminding him, hey, if we have sex, I can read your thoughts. So I know exactly what to do. And he's like, you know what? Nah, you're inebriated. I'm taking you to sickbay. I'm just saying. So he takes her to sickbay and he touches Crusher. Crusher has figured out that, like, you can transfer it by touch. And she's like, oh, God, you gave it to me. And she's like, I need to put you in quarantine. He's like, I don't have time for quarantine. And he leaves. Things are really going to shit at this point. The control chips and engineering needed for control of the ship, hence the name control chips. The assistant engineer guy that I don't think we ever see again pulls them all out and he's stacking them like, what's that game?
Jenga?
That's a damn game where you... Yes! It looks like that. That's basically what he's doing with them. And he's just having a good old time. And then we have something that me and Chris are iffy about. Data comes back to the bridge, and Data is acting drunk.
Which makes no sense whatsoever.
No. They try to explain it, because Picard's like, why would this affect you? And he just starts listing things he has in common with humans, like fingerprints.
Like, yeah, like I can get drunk because I have pores and fingerprints. And like I've got like a fluid that kind of acts like blood.
Yeah. That's what he says. And then you get the classic, if you prick me, do I not leak? If you know the theater background of some of the cast, you know why that's said. But, I mean, just for the basic person, it's like, what? I just know they had a great time filming this.
Every time I hear someone reenact that scene, it takes me back to like the first time I ever heard it, which was from the Golden Girls, where they had that prize Cuban fighter. He's like, have I not Cuban eyes? Cuban hands? Like, this guy's taking too many blows to the head.
I forgot about that. God.
Shut.
Hell, that was probably filmed like close to the same time this was.
Shout out to the Golden Girls.
Is there a Golden Girls Star Trek connection? I bet I could figure one out.
Probably several.
Yeah, I'll marinate on that. Okay. Crusher comes to Picard's ready room. And, like, so he walks in and she's, like, lounging on his desk, like, suggestively, which you're like, whoa, Bev. So she's giggling and trying not to make out with him. And he's trying to get her to not make out with him. Basically.
It's a little Skippy did when he walked in.
No, the skip's when he's got it. This is when she's got it. She gives it to him. Yeah. Yeah, the skip comes later. This is when he gets infected. She's the one skipping. But she doesn't want to skip anything. Because she tells him, you owe me? I haven't been with a man, with a husband. And she unzips her uniform. Like, it doesn't unzip very far in the front. But she unzips it. And I don't know if you picked up on when she said, like, you owe me.
Yes.
Do you know what that's in reference to? It's because, like,
husband.
he was the one that gave the order, and then Jack Crusher dies. And I was like, damn, Bev. You owe me. I mean, I don't know if that's going to get somebody's attention in the right way, but hey.
Clearly she's not thinking,
clearly. No. So we now know that the doctor is lonely and that she has something for Captain Picard. And don't worry, I'm sure that'll pan out.
I'm sure she has a thing for just
years later.
bald guys with like steely eyes that give death commands.
Possibly.
That's the old-fashioned one.
So, yeah, it is. Okay. The star explodes. And the thing is, like, they can't get out of the way of the debris because they can't move the ship because Wesley's in control of engineering. And the control chips are being played with by a random guy that we never see again. Riker starts to begin to feel the effects of it, and he's irritated. He's like, I don't have time for this. So Chris and I were talking. It's really interesting because Riker's the one that, like, is the least affected, when you would think he would be one that they focused on. But no, they didn't. They had him be the guy that's, like, trying to keep, control of something, because right after that, that's when Picard skips into sickbay, and I lost it. Something about that little hop just makes me laugh.
Even as, like, skipping merrily and hopping around is very stiff and formal.
I know, and it's so funny.
Like, what are people doing?
Because Patrick Stewart isn't.
What do people do in situations like this? Oh, yes, they skip. Ha ha. Now that we got the formalities out of the way.
And you're so right. It's like the stiffest skip you can possibly imagine. But, like, Patrick Stewart's really funny, and he's, like, very theatrical and stuff. But so you have, like, a funny person playing a guy with no sense of humor who's drunk and is trying to have a sense of humor. It's layered. It's very layered.
Layers.
Yeah.
What you call.
And, it is. It is. And so now both of them have it. So it's real difficult for them to concentrate. And I mean, I kind of wish they would have kept it for a bit longer. But I've always shipped the shit out of them. I shipped the shit out of them before people called it a ship. I did. I like them. I like them together. So, I'm not going to spoil anything, but that's a long wait. I'm not saying if anything happens, I'm just saying that's a long wait. Basically, they need like another minute. Wesley's like, hey, why don't you get Data to replace the control chips because he can do it faster than anybody. And Riker's like, Data, do we have enough time? And Data's like, nah, we need another minute. We're going to die. Like, oh, okay. And genius Wesley is like, hey, we have a tractor beam. We can make it do the opposite. We can make it a repulsor beam.
And at that point, I thought they were just going to repel like the debris floating towards them. And that would be it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they had to make it more action-packed. Where instead they repel the other ship that's now derelict into the comet, asteroid, whatever it is. And that
whatever you call that.
Slows it down enough to give them like the 1 extra minute they needed.
That's it. That is it. I think it's amusing that Wesley has a repulsor beam, because that's how I feel.
And of course,
early on,
they're like, but that will take hours to figure out how to do it. And he's like, yeah, but I'm a genius. Watch, it's done.
He's like, well, just like play it out in your head. Shut up, Wesley. I just get tired of being reminded he's a genius like every 10 seconds. Like, it's very frequent at this point.
That was about a single drop.
So yeah. Yes. So yeah. Wesley. I mean, he started it, but he also saved it. So okay. Now, one thing that I didn't like, that made me kind of sad, but that's just who I am. So, Crusher figures out the right recipe, and we'll just call it the sobriety hypo spray. Because, like, as soon as she gives it to you, like, you start clearing up in, like, seconds. So she's giving that out to everybody. And you noticed, except for the engineer guy that's still, like, just sitting on the floor.
Like he's off in La La Land, and they just didn't give him any. They just left him sitting there.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's why we don't see him again.
Because it's like, hey, he was completely intoxicated and pulled all the power chips out that we need. Let's leave him here alone, and maybe that won't happen again.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
you know,
he'll get one down the road.
The episode's
maybe.
Almost over. We don't need to focus on him.
Nah. Just let him sit in the floor and continue to play with the other control chips.
Let's see if he does more embarrassing things. He owes me money.
Yeah. Yeah. And he doesn't even have on the right uniform. He doesn't have on a Starfleet uniform. So I don't know what that's about. I really don't. But
that might have been why he was so eager to leave the kid there, because he was like, I just stole one of the uniforms. I'm not even supposed to be here.
Dante? I'm not even supposed to be here today.
I'm only 37.
Wait, should we call him Dante? We'll call him Dante then. That's Dante. Yeah, Dante wasn't supposed to be there that day, so he doesn't care. And he's like, you know what? I don't want your hyperspray. I want to stay here in La La Land. So, we see the bridge. People are sobering up. Tasha comes in, and Data looks over at her. She looks embarrassed, and she walks over to him, and she's like, Data, it never happened. Which I thought was kind of mean.
Once we learned the effects, I was interested to see how, like, I figured Data would be completely immune. And then I thought, well, it's probably going to infect Worf, and we're going to, because there would be a difference, because he's a totally different species. You don't know how alcohol would affect him. Or, like, it could affect him to the point where it's like, it makes everyone else, because they're human, like, completely drunk. But for him, it would be the equivalent of having, like, 15 beers, and for Klingons, that could be nothing. It might take, like, 200 or 300 for them to feel anything. Or it could go the opposite way, to where they're way more susceptible. Or it could be a thing where it doesn't affect them at all. They're completely immune. So he could have been one of the only responsible ones alongside Data, trying to get everything on track. And they just didn't do anything with him at all, hardly. But as soon as Data got infected, I was like, all bets are out the window. I was like, okay, if it gets him, it'll affect him identical, because it seems like they're not going in too creative of a direction with this. But I still find it so weird that Data was affected by it, because
it's really weird.
You would think, like, if he's got water molecules forming certain ways in his robot brain or whatever, it would make it to where he short circuits or loses, like, motor control. Like, one of his arms would, like, seize up and, like, close, and he couldn't use it, so he's down using just one hand, which I'm sure would be fine for him. Or he couldn't walk, or he couldn't see, or he could no longer speak. You'd think it would affect him in other ways, of, like, because he's, like, completely electronic, like, having water in your vital systems would not be good. So you'd think it would do all that. They're like, nah, it makes him drunk too. Why? He's got pores and fingerprints, that whole spiel. That makes no sense. Just go with it, okay?
Yep, just go with it. You just go with it. And so you're right though about Worf, because the most popular alcoholic beverage that most people know associated with Klingons is blood wine, obviously. Blood wine is best, and it's best served warm, obviously. And it's highly intoxicating, and a lot of humans can't tolerate it, and it's, I think, twice as potent as whiskey.
Okay.
So, yeah. So you're right. If Worf would have gotten it, it would have been much more mild. So, congrats. Good job on that. You were correct. What I was telling Chris, I think this episode is actually genius. A lot of people just see it as, like, them being funny, but actually Gene Roddenberry had a really great idea. And it's that if you have a new group of characters and you want everybody to learn a lot about them in a short period of time, you give them something that lowers inhibitions. And that's the reason why they did this, because we learned a lot about each character in just one episode.
Yes. Without being too heavy
we
of
know
an info dump.
Yeah, exactly.
They just sprinkle in little bits of information here and there, because typically they would need a whole episode to where like there's a cave in or something, and like one person's trapped with a card. They're like, oh, we have to find a way out of this cave because like we can't get a signal through these thick stone walls. And then the other person's like, well, while we're here, let me tell you about my tragic backstory. And they'd have to have, each character would have to have an episode like that, which was probably way more common back then. For like, they had to have like one episode where there's one character you focus on, and the whole episode is just giving their whole backstory, because there's a lot of information. You can't just deliver it all at once. So like, that was very interesting.
Yeah, I think it's a really, really effective way to not have to do that, because we know Picard somewhere deep down has a thing for Crusher. We know Riker is serious about his career because he kept a level head the entire time.
How he was affected with it, but was able to fight it off. Where it gives the impression of, he's like, look, I do wild and crazy stuff all the time, but not because I'm a slave to like, you know, my urges. I don't do it because like I'm very impulsive. I do it because I want to.
I completely agree. Completely. Because I am going to enjoy every one of the episodes where they have Riker hook up with some alien or go to an alien planet or dress up like an alien, because it's hilarious and I can't wait to watch those with you. So, yes, he has the aura. So I guess he fought it off with aura, as they say. So it's interesting. And we also kind of get the idea that the reason he and Deanna aren't together anymore is because he chose his career. So I think it's supposed to back that up. But we know Data wants to be human. He wanted to be with a woman. He probably has a checklist of things that, would make him more human.
Well, also being more human, like he could also choose to be with a man. So does that mean he has like a fully functional butthole?
I would say yes. Yes. 100% yes.
I bet that vibrates also.
Probably, yeah. I'm sure. I mean, it's Data. Yes, he sleeps with Tasha, but you never get any vibe from him that he's like gay or straight at all. You really don't. Because he's not. He's an android. But like, the opportunity came, and he's like, okay, sure.
I think
because I'm sure somewhere in his programming, it's like, yeah, if somebody wants to, then go with it.
He would be more inclined to be gay if he could realize his dream of being human. Because you can't be a homosexual if you're not a homo sapien.
Oh my God.
So he's like, I think he would just go down that road.
I mean, honestly, I don't. They'd never really delve into. He has a fondness for Tasha after this, but like it's never really explored more than just like a fondness, like, but no more than he has for other people.
Yes.
So I mean, I kind of wish we would have gotten that, but I mean, it is what it is. But we know he wants to be human. We know Tasha had a awful childhood, and she was abandoned at 5 years old. We know that Counselor Troy still wants Commander Riker. We know that Beverly has a thing for Captain Picard. We know Wesley's a genius.
They keep hammering that.
We know Geordi. Yeah,
they keep hammering that one home.
Yeah. You know why they brought him on?
to engage a younger audience.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He was supposed to get, like, you know, the teen girls interested. Because he had been in, like, some movies and stuff. So that was the whole thing. So I don't really know why they went with the genius thing. I don't know. But we also learned that Geordi, like, deep down, you know, he has things that bother him, even though he has the visor and stuff. And you get the idea that Geordi's lonely, which is something that a lot of Star Trek fans get irritated about.
I could see why he'd be lonely.
Yeah, Geordi doesn't get much of a love life.
Yeah. Did you see what I did there?
He doesn't. I did.
Good.
I saw it. I did. He didn't, but I did. It's fine. Also, in the scene where he takes off his visor, he's got on those cool, like, white contact lens things that make his eyes look all cloudy and strange. So there's that. It looked kind of cool and creepy, but cool.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm. So I love that episode. It's a 10 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, I would say it's my favorite so far. Granted, we're only on episode 3, but I liked it a lot better than the other ones.
It's a good episode.
I did like.
Yeah, it's a
I
good
didn't
episode.
dislike the first two. In fact, I really liked the first two. But given those are the only ones I've ever actually sat through, I did love Q. But now that I think about it, he was probably the main thing I liked about the first 2 episodes.
A lot of people agree with you, and it's interesting because there was actually a script for Encounter at Farpoint that had no Q in it, which is hard to imagine at this point.
I think that was a very bold start to have like a character like him just pop up in the very first episode, because he's very fantasy based in what is supposed to be like a strictly 100% sci-fi series.
Mm-hmm. That's a very good point. He is very fantasy
like a whimsical trickster god. Like, what was that? He's almost like the Marvin Martian to Flintstones.
And he's got like some Loki.
What's the trickster that would bother Superman? In the old what was it called? Not the Justice League. It was before that. Super Friends.
I don't know.
He was the one you had to say his name backwards in order to get him to disappear, and that was the only way they could deal with him, because he was essentially like a god and had magical powers, and with all of Superman's strength and like Batman's intelligence and like all the other superpowers combined, they were no match for him. And every episode he appeared, they had to trick him into saying his name backwards a different way. That was the only thing that would banish him to his like home dimension, because he wasn't even from like our universe.
Well, it's funny, like, at some point I'm going to do an episode just on Q, because I think he's great, and he's in Voyager, and he makes an appearance, like, a lot.
Where was he on January 6th, I wonder?
Shaking his head in disappointment. It depends on his mood. What Q are we talking about? Are we talking about, like, early Star Trek Q or later? Because, like, it's a different answer. Early Star Trek Q is laughing hysterically, especially at the guy with, like, the Viking outfit. Ugh. Later, much later, Q might be a little disgusted. I don't know. It just depends on his mood. But I've always found it to be really cute that he is a character in My Little Pony named Discord.
Of course.
Yeah, and Discord is just Q. It's Q. I mean, like, it's just Q. Even the sound that Discord makes when he appears is the same sound that Q makes when he appears. Like the bright light, same sound. I always love that very much. And his voice sounds a slightly higher pitch, which I think is something they did, not him. But I I love that. And he's like a funny looking thing. He's like 6 different animals together and doesn't really understand feelings and things. I don't know. I've always loved that. That's what made me realize that Q wouldn't be Q without John Delancey, because I think he just acts like himself, yes. Which I'm fine with. Hey, it's Amanda here. Thank you for listening to my podcast. And if you don't mind, go on over to YouTube and Instagram and follow the podcast there. And that way you'll get alerted the next time an episode drops. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.